Well, it's been a busy weekend at the Tokyo Ham Fair for 2024. We've got the new Yaesu FTX 1F announced. We've got the IC7760 announced. And even Kenwood have come up with a yet unnamed mobile transceiver. So, some interesting changes ahead on the ham radio scene. In this short video, we're just going to concentrate on the Yaesu FTX 1F. The big question has been, will it have 4 meters on it? Well, I'm glad to tell you that yes, it will have 4 meters on it, which is great news for certainly us in the UK and a lot around Europe as well. So 4 meters, yes, it will have that. And it's beginning to appear that the FTX 1F is very, very much based on the FT710. Now, if you watch this channel, you'll know I'm a great fan of the FT710. When it came out, it didn't come out in a blaze of glory. I don't know why, really, because it's a revolutionary transceiver for Yaesu. It's Yaesu's first fully SDR transceiver. And I've found that the performance is superb. The receiver is absolutely amazing. It's a very quiet receiver. And the even more amazing thing is that as prices go, it's very competitively priced. It's probably the lowest high performance HF transceiver you can buy. So it's good news that this new portable transceiver seems to be based on the FT710. Now, I don't quite know yet how Yaesu are achieving coverage on the VHF and UHF ranges. ICOM down converts. They've got SDR up to 25 megahertz and then they down convert above that. Whether Yaesu have followed suit with that method, I don't know. That will become clear, I guess, as we get more information on the transceiver. As for price, there's been no price announced yet. I've checked and there's not even a yen price been announced yet, and that's not surprising because Yaesu don't plan to release this transceiver until 2025. There's no date in 2025 other than early 2025, so I think it'll be some while before we learn the price. Certainly, if there's no yen price, we've got no idea at all, but I'm sure that it will be competitively priced. And if the Yaesu FT710 is anything to go by, it could be quite surprisingly priced, but who knows. The big battery has created a lot of interest, this sort of 5.5 amp hour battery, which gives obviously a longer life before you have to recharge it. Interesting enough, in the specification they released, they said the battery life was 9 hours SSB based on 6 times 6 times 48. Well, actually, looking at the Japanese translation, it says for 6 seconds transmit, 6 seconds receive, and 48 seconds on standby. That's how they compute 9 hours. Now, I can understand 6 seconds transmit and 6 seconds receive, but I don't fully understand standby. I can only assume that the transceiver will go to sleep, and standby means that it's basically on standby, it's asleep, which begs the question, well, you might as well switch it off anyway. But there's a rough calculation based on what they say. You should get an hour's transmit, an hour's continuous transmit, an hour's continuous receive, and the remaining, 7 hours on standby. But I guess if you switch it off, you're going to get longer than that. So it looks to me as if you're going to get a fairly good life cycle out of it. But until we actually fully understand what they mean, we can't be sure. But certainly, if you've got a battery of 5.5 amps or thereabouts, 5.5 amp hours, you're going to get a pretty good life out of the transceiver on the battery. Now, I've put the measurements up on the screen. It's actually very similar size to the ICOM IC705, although I'm not quite sure how much the battery adds to the depth of the transceiver, and I'm not sure whether that depth figure includes a battery or not. But certainly it's going to be fairly compact. Interesting enough, the screen is 4.3 inches, which is exactly the same size screen as the FT710 and exactly the same size screen as on the IC705. So it's a reasonable size screen, and I guess the screen layout in terms of the menu system is going to be very similar to the FT710. Now, another interesting fact has emerged on the FTX1F, and that is the combination of things you can have strapped on the back. Let's put up on the screen here now the combinations going from left to right. You can have just the battery. You can have the battery and the ATU. You can have just the ATU. You can have the fan for FT8 plus the ATU, or you can just have the fan. Now, what that tells me is that for FT8, the only time you need to have a fan is when you're running the higher power, 10 watts, because you can't actually have the fan and the battery together, and probably there's no need for it. So for FT8 owners, if you're going to run portable on FT8, you probably will be quite okay, because quite clearly the only time that you can have a fan is when you're running the radio from an external supply, i.e. 10 watts. So it's an interesting fact. Obviously the acreage on the front is not so great, so there are some controls on the top. I couldn't quite make out all the controls on the top, and obviously the menu system is also going to be quite important. But the main functions seem to be there if you look at the front panel. And it's a waiting game now, but it's an interesting transceiver to come out of Yaesu. It certainly dominated the interest at the Tokyo Fair by a great amount. You've only got to see all the YouTube videos that have appeared. It's certainly grabbed the interest of a wide range of ham radio operators. And perhaps it's a bit interesting really, because a lot of the time we talk about 100-watt transceivers and linear amplifiers, and yet ironically there's a phenomenal interest in low power equipment. There's more low power equipment now than was probably 10 years ago, certainly more than was 20 years ago. A lot of people will be sorry that the FT817 and the 818 has disappeared, but I think they really had served their purpose. When the FT817 came along, which is many years ago now, it was a fantastic little transceiver covering all bands from 160 through to 77s, and there's still a lot of them in use and people will still continue to use them. But certainly this new transceiver from Yaesu has grabbed the attention, and I think when we finally get it, there's going to be a lot of people that are thinking, gosh, I think I'll buy one of those. So thanks for watching this short video. I hope it's been of interest, and the good news of course is 4 meters, and we'll now wait further information from Yaesu. Oh, by the way, will it be available at the Newark Hamfest? Well, I would be surprised if it wasn't, but don't expect to have a working model. I think it'll be a sort of glass case version, but I would be surprised if it isn't there. But as soon as I get news on that, I will let you know. So stand by for that one. In the meantime, you enjoy your ham radio. Thanks for watching this short video. You take care. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.